I did 1000 Breezy flicks to see if I could become less bad. Let's see how it went. To start with, I spent like 5 hours hacking together a backers mod plugin that would increase this counter every time I put the ball on top of my car. It took longer than actually doing the Breezy flicks, and I managed to blue screen my PC a few times in the process. So yeah. Moving on. Now I can sometimes hit a Breezy, and I've hit a few in game before, like this, but it's a best at 10% success rate for me to even hit one in free play with some amount of power, let alone on target. My goal is to at least up the percentage of powerful Breezes, regardless of accuracy. To see if there is any improvement, we'll look at the stats later on. But for now, let's go over the journey from attempt 1 to attempt 1000 and some of the changes I tried to make during those attempts. Starting off, it was quite a mixed bag. I was getting a decent connection on some shots, but others looked a bit like this. This continued for a while, and I think the main problem was how inconsistent my setup was. The ball would pop up too high, go too far forward, not go forward enough, or the car would scrape along the floor. To stop that last one, the first thing I did was hold down the jump button a little bit longer, and this fixed the scraping. And as a bonus, it also helped to reduce some of these unintentional pops. Now, to make sure the ball itself was in a good position, I tried to start the Breezy with the ball on the same part of my car each time, specifically on the front of my car in roughly this position. This on its own didn't help too much, because even if the ball was in the right position, it would often still be moving relative to the car. That isn't technically an issue if you can just adjust your timing and speed depending on the ball's relative velocity, but my brain cannot handle that. Looking back at some of the footage now, I've also noticed something else that definitely doesn't help. My movement can be quite jerky sometimes, which means when I'm lining up the shot, I can easily move too far in a direction, putting me out of position. The easiest way to fix that is to first stop braking unnecessarily and just let go of accelerate and boost to slow down, but also feather or tap the steering, accelerate and boost controls for smoother movement, although I didn't realise this at the time. The last thing I did actually change was to slow the start of the spin slightly after jumping, so as I held jump I would pull down more on the stick first, then air roll, then move the stick more to the left. It is a really subtle change. This seemed to help keep the ball glued to the front of the car more, and I think although this was the change that made the biggest impact, it can definitely be improved on. With these things in mind, I felt like I slowly started to see an improvement in consistency, and in the last 200 shots or so, I felt something clicked a little where I was seeing a lot more good attempts. But did I actually improve at all? To check, I went back and counted the number of good, average, and bad attempts for every 100 shots. I stuck this data in a spreadsheet and created this high quality graph. And as you can see, I definitely didn't start out so hot. 101st to 200th attempt being horrendous. And despite trying to include the changes mentioned before, there wasn't much of an improvement until the last 200 shots, where I suddenly started to hit a lot more good attempts. I think until that point I struggled to consciously make all the changes I was trying to. Only when a little bit of muscle memory started to appear did I see actual improvement. But despite that improvement, I don't think these results are all that useful. We only really touched on the setup and didn't even do a great job of that. There are other parts of the Breezy we didn't even mention, like shot accuracy, how to air roll through it and adjusting mid-air, all things I'm also bad at. So I think we can only come to one conclusion. We need more Breezes.